Mr. Hackerphobia here today. I've got another Division 2 build video for you, which you have 300% crit damage, which is insane. And I've been using this in the last few days. It's pretty good. I'm using the Vector because not everybody has the Ouroboros. But if you have the Ouroboros, use that gun on this build because it's basically the Vector on steroids, which is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what gun's gonna outperform that gun in the future unless they add some sort of, I know, assault rifle with a ridiculous amount of RPM. But if you like my content, guys, like and subscribe, and let's get straight into this video. Okay, so our first piece of gear is the mask, which is UMBRA Initiative mask. 2-piece gives us 15% crit chance, 3-piece is 30% reload speed, and the 4th piece is From the Shadows. Okay, so basically, guys, when you're in the open, you'll have armor regen stacks, which have basically 5-second stacks. So wait 5 seconds and your armor regen stacks will be full until you go into cover. When you go into cover, your armor starts regenning and your armor stacks deplete. But because you're in cover, your crit damage stacks will start stacking, and when they're at full, will only work, you'll only get that 100% crit damage when you're out of cover. But remember, when you're out of cover, your armor regen stacks will start building again. So it's like back and forth. So I'll read this, you might understand it in the description, but a lot of people don't. So while in cover, gain 10 stacks per second up to 50. Each stack will give 1% critical damage and 0.3% RPM. So we have the chest piece, so we'll get a 30% rate of fire, and we get 100% crit damage. So buff does not apply while shooting from cover, so when you're in cover and you're shooting, you won't get that crit damage unless you're out of cover. While out of cover, agents lose 2 stacks per second at normal speed and 1 stack per second if sprinting, which is good because it's a run and gun build this. While out of cover and in combat, gain 10 stacks per second up to 50. Each stack will give 0.8% armor regen when it is consumed. Stacks consume 10 stacks per second only in cover. So if this is a run and gun build, so when you're running around and you have your crit stacks from being in cover for 5 seconds, you'll have tons of damage. But when you need a bit of armor, you just get into cover and it'll regen your armor while it depletes your armor regen stacks. You understand that, guys? It's kind of weird, this gear set, but it's one of my favourite gear sets anyway. But the core attribute is a blue. Attributes are 12% critical damage, and the mod is 12% critical damage as well. So our second piece of UMBRA are the gloves, which is a blue core. Attributes are 12% critical damage. Our third piece of UMBRA are the knee pads, blue core, 11.9% critical damage. So our fourth piece of UMBRA is the chest piece. Reason we're using chest piece is because we get at the bottom here, From the Shadows, increase max stacks for From the Shadows from 50 to 100, and stacks gain from 10 to 20. So basically, instead of getting 50 crit damage when you're out of cover and 15% RPM, we get double that, so we get 100% crit damage and 30% RPM bonus, which is insane. So that's why I'm using the chest piece, because it's just overall better. You can change this build how you like this is just a template, this is how I run it. You can change it if you want, but core attribute is a red, 15% weapon damage. Attributes are 12% critical damage and 12% critical damage mod. So the holster we're using is the named Brazos, which is called the Bakaro's holster. 1 piece we get 10% skill haste, that's always handy with the decoy we're using. Core attribute is a blue. Attributes are 12% critical damage, and we get 15% weapon damage. So you always want to have that 15% weapon damage and a blue core. So that's a really good piece of gear. So our final piece of gear is the backpack. We're using the Grupo Sombra, which gives you 15% critical damage. Core attribute are 15% weapon damage. Attributes is 6% critical chance and 12% critical damage, and the mod is 11.7% critical damage as well. And the talent I'm using for survivability is Bloodsucker. Killing an enemy adds and refreshes a stack of 10% bonus armor for 10 seconds. Max stack is 10, so you get 100% bonus armor. And you can regen your armor by getting into cover, remember? So you'll have plenty of survivability with this build, and you'll have loads of damage because you have 300% crit damage. I do believe there's diminishing returns after 250%. So the gun I've gone with is the Dark Winter SMG, because not everybody has the Ouroboros. I just wanted to show you what a normal gun would look like, because not everybody can do the incursion. So the core attributes are 15% SMG damage, 21% critical hit chance, and attribute is 10% critical hit damage. I would recommend changing that to damage targets out of cover, but I can't because I don't have the gun. But the Dark Winter named Vector, guys, you can only get from the Dark Zone and named caches. But named caches you can get easily if you go and play Countdown and you get the currency from it. You can easily buy named caches and get a Dark Winter. Like the Ouroboros is completely different. You have to do the incursion, and it's just RNG to get it from the chest or one of the bosses. But with the Dark Winter Perfect Killer, killing an enemy with a critical hit grants 50% critical hit damage for 10 seconds, which our crit chance is at max 60%. So we'll always get this Perfect Killer. And then the mods I've got is crit damage, mag size, and crit chance, both mods. So the second gun is the Mop, just for survivability, and remember this will shoot super quick as well. Core attribute is 15% shotgun damage, 12% damage to armor, and 10% armor on kill. And we have preservation. Killing an enemy repairs 10% armor over 5 seconds. Headshots kills improve the repair by an additional 10%. So this potentially can be 30% armor on kill if you get a headshot. And we get 10% from gunner, so 40% armor on kill. And the pistol that I'm using is the Orbit. You can only get this from the Dark Zone and named caches, the same as the Dark Winter. Core attribute is 15% pistol damage, 10% damage targets out of cover, and the talent is Perfect Finisher. Swapping from this weapon within 10 seconds of killing an enemy grants 35% critical hit chance and 40% critical hit damage for 15 seconds. If you can use this talent correctly, you can actually get your crit damage like stupidly high. So the first skill I'm using is the Crusader Ballistic Shield. It's tier 4 because I have 4 blue cores. So your shield is a little bit tanky, and the mods are there. So the second skill I'm using is the Decoy, which is tier 0 because I have no skill tiers, but most of my builds, like you've seen people, are the Decoy and the shield or something else. But I don't run the Revive Hive, but it's completely up to you. You can change these skills how you like. I just prefer to run these skills. So the overall build is 4-piece Umbra Initiative, Pocahontas holster, and the Grupo Sombra backpack with Bloodsucker, because Bloodsucker gives us 100% bonus armor. We get basically 100% crit damage from using the Umbra chest piece because of the talent. So we have this is our mask, our chest piece, gloves, knee pads, holster, Pocahontas named, 15% weapon damage, and the backpack, Grupo Sombra, Bloodsucker. That's just a quick breakdown. So the SMG we're using, Dark Winter with Perfect Killer, the Mop with Preservation, and the Orbit with Perfect Finisher. And the skills are the Ballistic Shield and the Decoy. So that's just a quick breakdown for you. I'll show you the stats now. So these are the stats. We have, with the Vector, we have 60% critical hit chance, which max 182.6% critical hit damage, and that's without going into cover to get the stacks. But when you do go into cover and get the stacks and you come back out of cover, you'll have basically 100% more. So you'll have 282% crit damage, which is absolutely ridiculous. And then remember, if you get the kill, you get the talent active on the Vector, which is an extra 50%. You'll have have above 300%, and you can also activate the finisher, which is 40%, so you could potentially get up to 400% critical hit damage. Obviously there's diminishing returns after, I believe, like 250% crit damage, maybe a bit below, but so the shotgun is 36% critical hit chance and 167% critical hit damage, basically 267, which is mad. That's the pistol, and I'll scroll down the rest for you. So the specialisation we're using is the gunner specialisation. Main reason we're using this is because we get 10% armour on kill, which is good, because if you get it with the a headshot with the mop shotgun, you'll get 30%, and then 10% you'll get 40% armour on kill, and you'll have armour regen. Remember, you can go and cover, get your armour back. We'll have every third reload is 50% faster. We also have generate 10% total ammo capacity every 60 seconds. Party members receive 5%, but your vector ammo will like deplete really quick, so that is always good. And our main talent that we want is barrage. Rate of fire increases by 5% on kill for 5 seconds, which is even more mental because you already get 30% rate of fire increase on a vector, people. So if you use the Ouroboros, that's going to be even more insane. So this build is actually pretty good. So we have 15% SMG damage, 15% shotgun damage, and 15% sidearm damage. You can use this build in PvP, but I'd recommend replacing the backpack talent with something like companion, vigilance maybe. Or you could do it with ninja and swap another piece of gear. There's so many ways to make the build for PvP. I'll make one in the future for you. But this is the build that I've made. I've been using for the last week and a half. And it's pretty efficient. I can get through content pretty quick. So let me know what you think of the build or what you run in the comments. Thanks for watching and happy hunting.